feeling low.
Hello there, lemon slices, and welcome back to the Lemonade Stand, or welcome if you are new. My name is Brianna, and currently you're looking at lemon-related stock footage instead of my face. This video is going to be different than others. This is a collaboration between me and my friend Savvy over at the YouTube channel Savvy Writes Books. Sav and I are friends, and we have plenty of stuff in common, so I was really excited when she invited me to sit down and collaborate with her. This is the second of a two-part collaboration. The first part was uploaded to her channel just last week, and that was just a casual discussion about both of us and our child-free stance and how we basically navigate this world as child-free adults. It was just a fun, kind of laid-back conversation. This conversation here on my channel is pretty different. This one is about BEWBS. Sav and I have really interesting perspectives on this because I've had an augmentation where I went bigger and Sav had a reduction where she went smaller. So we both had plastic surgery and we just wanted to sit down and talk about our experiences, some misconceptions we've dealt with, and just share our journey. The video that you're about to watch will have very minimal editing, and there's honestly not a ton of structure to our conversation. Like I said, it was just a very casual, laid-back, personal discussion. So that's enough introductions. I do hope you enjoy the video.
So I liked the topic that you brought up when we were talking. Hang on. Let's answer questions, like the most common rebuttals, or like common, I guess, not rebuttals, but common like pushback questions that we get.
Yeah.
So first things first, though, maybe not everybody knows, I've had an augmentation. I went bigger, and you've had a reduction, right?
Yeah. So we've both had plastic surgery, but in the opposite way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll when you're gonna edit into the video, I'll send you some before and after pictures so you can see how big they used to be. Although I guess people can just look at old videos on my channel too, but you can't see my whole body in there because a lot of people used to just think that I was just a bigger person in general because I have a really big head, I have big shoulders, and then I also had huge boobs. And then most times in videos, my camera is like here up. And then if people would see me on Instagram, like a full body picture, they'd be like, wait, you look like that? I didn't know. Like, they'd be very confused. I get a lot of DMs like that all the time. Yeah, but my boobs were like each the size of my head. The biggest bra I had before surgery was a 34H, and it was way too small. Like, I was like spilling out of it. So when I actually did measurements, I think I was supposed to be about like a K-cup size. And it's really hard to find those. Yeah. Because most websites, even like the big titty websites, usually only go to like J, which I know is still pretty big, but, or like, yeah. So, or if I would like, it would be hard too, because if I'd go to like a plus size store, it wouldn't help because the band size would be too big around this way. So I couldn't like, when I'd get sports bras, I would get them in like a triple extra large. And then I'd get the expensive ones that had the adjustable Velcro so I could tighten it and tighten the straps. And I still couldn't do jumping jacks or run or anything like that. It was awful. So yeah, I got like, I want to say like 3/4 of my breast tissue removed. I went down about 7 bra sizes. And yeah. So that's what I did. That's what I did about a year ago now. I did that in towards the start of 2022.
I just love how we're just polar opposite on that. I went the complete opposite. Yeah, I went bigger. I had a boob job, had a breast augmentation. I think my boobs I think we just had our anniversary. Our anniversary was in December 21st. I think I had them done in 2017.
Okay.
So a little over, I guess this year will be 6 years, but this past December was 5 years, I believe. Yeah, 2017. I wasn't flat chested, but I was always very small chested. And it was something that I've kind of wanted ever since I was very young, which is wild to think about. Like to think about changing your body when you're so young. Even when I turned 18, I still didn't feel like I was old enough. Like, I'm still a child. I'm not ready. And I was broke too. So, but all those years I was like doing research on it. I spent a lot of time doing research, and I think that's really important to do research from reliable, legitimate, evidence-based, and unbiased research too. I think that's important. And I think when I finally decided to do it, I had actually lost 20 pounds. No. I was in the process of losing weight. I went to my first consultation with my surgeon. This was in Florida in June, a couple weeks after my birthday. And I actually scheduled it for December because like I said, I was in the process of losing weight, and I kind of wanted to get, my weight a little bit down more. So by the time my surgery date came around, I'd actually lost 20 pounds. And so they were smaller. And I also was a teeny bit uneven. The augmentation did, I feel like it made them look a little bit more even. A little bit though. I will say something that I didn't notice is my boobs are a little bit lopsided, which is totally normal. Like a lot of us, like one of your nips is pointing that way and the other one is a little bit that way. Yeah. And you don't notice that stuff, but actually I feel like having plastic surgery made me notice it more. But you know, it doesn't bother me. I'm happy with the size that I went. And plus like I see my boobs and my husband sees my boobs. That's it. So like, it doesn't bother me that they were a little bit lopsided.
Yeah.
And it's not because of the plastic surgery. They were already that way, but I just felt like I noticed it more after the surgery. Something that I also want to offer a recommendation on. I researched my surgeon for a really long time, like at least a year. I kind of stalked him on social media, checked out his profiles and everything like that. And by the time I went to him, I kind of already knew that I wanted to go to him. And I went to him, and on my first consultation, I booked my surgery. Now, something that I recommend is go to multiple surgeons and have multiple consultations. My situation is rare, where I fell in love with one surgeon and I booked it with him, and I'm extremely happy with my experience. He was fantastic. I wouldn't change anything for the world. If I ever want a revision or anything, if I ever need to get them exchanged, I hope he's still practicing because I want to go back to him. But I do recommend seeing multiple people. Now, what about you? Did you go to a plastic surgeon for a reduction?
Yeah. So, I agreed with a lot of what you're saying. Like, I had wanted this surgery for at least, like, 4 years before I got it. It was definitely not a hasty decision. And I'd always definitely had issues growing up with related to body image just because I started, like, I can't remember a time where I didn't have boobs. Like, even if I look at pictures of myself at, like, 5 years old, there's, like, something there. Then when I was, like, started to get to be, like, I think the first time someone commented on it was when I was in, like, 3rd grade or something. And then when I was in 7th grade, I went to the Victoria's Secret bra fitting, and the lady there, when she saw how big they were, she just kind of started talking to me like an adult. She would be like, yeah, you could get like matching panties, and my boyfriend loves when I do that. I was like, I'm a child. I am in middle school. Like, I'm a kid. I don't know why you're talking to me like I'm going to be doing all this sexual stuff. I'm literally a child. I was very uncomfortable, and then I got a bra there, and it was like a D-cup bra or something, and everyone was so in awe of that. Like, all my friends were like, wow, your boobs are so big. And I was like, yeah, I know. It was very frustrating though, because around middle school, that's when like a lot of adults in my life who had my best interest in mind, but it was also really difficult because they would try to tell me not to dress in certain ways that were like, you remember what like early 2000s fashion was like. It was all the like lots of kind of like what I'm wearing now is like the tight tank tops and the like all those type of things. And basically I was not allowed to wear most of those type of things just because I was told like a lot of grown men are going to look at you sexually. And I was, in my mind, I'm like, well, that's not my fault. I'm a kid, which is still the truth. Like, you should never victim blame kids for that. But at the same time, I don't blame anyone. Like, I don't think they were malicious in telling me those kind of things. But it also does a lot to your body image when you're a kid. I remember, like, one of my worst memories was, like, I went to this, it was like a field trip at the end of 8th grade. And the field trip, we were at this, like, park. And people were going in canoes and in the river and stuff. And everyone wore a bathing suit for it. But I was told I was not allowed to wear a bathing suit, that was inappropriate if I were to wear a bikini on this trip, even though I was an 8th grader and all the other 8th grade girls were wearing bikinis, and I just felt really left out, and I just didn't go in the water at all and just like hung out at the picnic bench with other people and stuff. So I was like, I hate this. So from like an early age, I had this terrible body image, feeling like, okay, it's my own fault if other people are sexualizing me, and like, I really hated that. That was one thing I really didn't like growing up. And then as I grew, there was like, they didn't stop growing at any point. Like, I'm worried they're gonna grow back because they were still like, there's a video where I first expressed my desire for breast reduction. It's in like 2019 I put this video out, and I look back at that video, and I was like, holy shit, my boobs were way smaller in that video than they were by the time I finally went to go get surgery. Like, they did not stop growing. As I got older, it was just like, the back pain, because I also have scoliosis, so it's like the back pain was already not good, and then it increased, and then the more I would like try to work out, I already had issues with my lower back and part of my upper back, and then I also trying to wear any sports bra was like really difficult. So it was all this pain on top of that. And then finally, I definitely did talk to a couple surgeons, but the one I found, my mom actually, like, one of her friends' daughters got a breast reduction surgery from that surgeon, so my mom recommended him to me, and I reached out and did a consultation, and I also booked a surgery at the consultation, too, because I was like, he seemed good, he seemed reputable, the work he'd done looked good to me, and I was like, I'm ready to get this going, especially because they seem to be able to get my insurance to cover it, which, when your insurance covers something, like, you still have the deductible, you still have the out-of-pocket maximum, so I still ended up paying like almost $7,000. But apparently it would have been a lot more had I not had insurance, because U.S. health insurance is just terrible as a concept. So
you paid more. That's crazy, because you said even with insurance, you still paid around $7,000. I paid for my augmentation, I think in total like $4,400 or $4,500.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's like maybe the surgical process is a little different or something. I don't know, but a lot of those fees were like, here's the fee for going to the hospital, here's the fee for having to go under anesthesia, here's the fee for, like, it's just a million of those pile on top of each other, and then insurance takes care of some of it, but they said it's fully covered, which I'm like, that's great, but then it's like, it's fully covered, but you also have your deductible to pay, and then you also have to hit the out-of-pocket maximum and stuff. So basically 2022, I started off the year having hit all the maximums in my insurance, and I was just like, well, anything else medical I need is free for the rest of the year now, so I'm just gonna take care of every potential medical issue I think I might have. Let's just go to the doctor as much as possible this year. So that was last year for me. There's
another like big difference in the cost. I can't think of, I did pay less money than you did, but my insurance didn't cover any of it. And I can't think of a situation where breast augmentation would be covered by insurance, because it's considered cosmetic. Even if you think in terms of like, what if somebody had breast cancer and they had a mastectomy or a double mastectomy, I think even then it's considered cosmetic, I think.
Okay. Because I know that, like, I think of, like, breast cancer, and then I think of, like, there's, like, some trans women that will get a breast augmentation, and, like, I don't know, are those cases considered cosmetic, or I'm not sure,
I think it is. Okay. I think it is, yeah. I don't know. I have to look it up. But I think it is. Because if you think about it, it's easier. Do you hear that?
Is that a puppy? Hello!
I feel like it makes sense that a breast reduction would be covered, at least in part, by insurance, because it can result in, I mean, there's health complications to having really large breasts that you experience too, like back pain. And then on top of that, it exacerbated. Okay. All right. Like you had scoliosis too, so it exacerbates your scoliosis as well. So I can see insurance covering it, at least in part. I've been asked before, like, does insurance cover breast augmentation? And right off the hip, I say no. I can't think of a situation where insurance would cover it. Yeah. But for me, it was like strictly cosmetic. I mean, it's cosmetic surgery. It's always cosmetic. For me, it was just a desire. And something I guess that's interesting about my history is and this made me sad, you talking about like the body image issues. And it was kind of like you being made to feel like you had to cover up your body. Mm-hmm. Like you had to cover up your body because other people might do things, might have thoughts about your body. I'm like, that's not my fault. It's not my fault.
Exactly, especially when you're a child. I'm like, if I'm an underage girl and there's a grown man having sexual thoughts about an underage girl, like, that's his problem. Right. Like, he's a weirdo. Like, that's not...
I never had body image issues. I guess it was something that I always just kind of, for me, I was just like looking in the mirror at myself and be like, it'd be cool if I had big old titties.
Yeah. I think that's a valid reason too. I'm just very in favor of bodily autonomy in general, and I think every human should have the right to have their body the way they want it. Right. I don't think there should be, like, we shouldn't be stigmatizing that. Like, well, this is the thing too that I think is interesting, because I used to be really into, like, natural beauty as a concept until, like, my mid-20s. I was so, like, when I was in college, I would be like, I have never worn makeup before. I have never dyed my hair before. I have never gotten any tattoo. Like, all that stuff to me, I was like, every part of my body and every part of me that you see is just 100% natural. Mm-hmm. But, you know, things being natural doesn't make them better. Like, that's how people start selling you essential oils and shit, by trying to pretend that something natural makes it better. After college, I started getting tattoos, and I was like, actually, I like this. And I started bleaching my hair, and I was like, I like this too. And now I've had plastic surgery, so I'm like, you know what? Natural beauty is stupid. I will just do whatever I feel like doing. And, you know, sometimes I put on fake eyelashes, and I think they look cute. And so I'm like, I'll just do whatever I want at this point. There's, you know, it's just as valid to take joy in the creativity of making yourself look the way that you want to.
Exactly. I think that's beautiful. I used to be the same way, like all about like, oh, natural beauty. And I think that's where a lot of the negative stigma comes about. It's like people making comments about people, not just women, who have had plastic surgery. It's like, oh, well, natural beauty. Well, I mean, everybody changes their appearance in some way, shape, or form. You have tattoos. I have body piercings. You dyed your hair, like you cut your hair. We've all changed we all do things to change our appearance. And I think for me, at a certain point, I thought about it. And I was like, wait, why is it a bad thing actually to want to change your appearance? Like, I guess depending on the motivation for it, like if you want to get a boob job I saw this on an episode of Botched one time.
Oh my God, Botched. We can definitely talk about Botched. This is the most anxiety-inducing show of all time.
There was a lady on Botched. She had an augmentation, I think, already, but her like boyfriend wanted them bigger. So she got another augmentation, and they were so big that they like started causing her serious health problems. But her boyfriend, like, she got a breast augmentation because her boyfriend wanted them bigger. And I feel like that's not a good reason, like, to want to change your body. You have to want to do it for yourself, man. Yeah. And like, you know, it's for you. Those things, when you change your body, it should be for yourself. You know, you shouldn't do it for anybody else. And that's another. My husband was very supportive. And he's perfectly okay.
Yeah, mine was too. That's the thing. It was so weird because I would get when I would post on Instagram and stuff about the fact that I was getting a breast reduction, I'd get comments sometimes from people who would be like, "Is your husband going to be upset about it?" and stuff like that. I would be like, "No." Well, usually how I'd respond is I'd be like, "Well, he's an ass man anyway, and that's not going anywhere." But
that's how I respond too. So is Ace. Okay.
So I would say that kind of stuff, but like beyond that. I had someone message me, and this was the saddest thing. She was talking about how she had been in a relationship with a man for 9 years, and she needed to get a breast reduction because she was having so much pain. She was having health complications, and she got the reduction, and they were not even small. Like, she just got them reduced enough to stop. So she was still wearing like a double D cup bra, and like they were still pretty big. They just weren't so big that they were going to cause her problems. But he wasn't into it anymore, and he left. And I was what the hell? I was like, that 9 years of a relationship, and you're going to leave someone over, like, good thing she never got breast cancer. Like, how would you, like, you couldn't stick with someone for, like, that's just being a shitty partner. But I guess there are shitty partners out there that exist, so I'm grateful that I don't have one of those.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very grateful too that my husband was supportive. I get asked sometimes, like in private, like, does your husband like your boobs? I'm like, I mean, yeah, he likes them, but he's an ass man. Right. So he like prefers the basement to the balcony anyway. Yeah. So like he was completely supportive of it. But I'm in a boob job group, like on Facebook, a private Facebook group. And there is just like a lot of posts a lot of the time about women who are in relationships with men and they want an augmentation, but their husband or, you know, significant other, whatever, is just like not supportive. And they say things like, well, you just want big boobs so other men will look at you. And I'm just like, okay, like no. I think that says more about them, the guy, their partner, than it does about, you. I think that just shows insecurity on their part. I've never met a person who wants a breast augmentation so other men will look at them. It should be for yourself. You shouldn't do it for somebody else. Like, it has to be something that you want for yourself. And that's how I felt about my boob job. And I'm sure that's how you felt about your augmentation. And like, my husband understood that. Your husband understood that. Yeah. Like, if it'll make you happy, and if it'll make you feel, you know, a little bit better about yourself, and in your case, alleviate some of the health problems you're having, then do it.
I'm not a mind reader. I can't speak for him, but I think he probably thinks I'm more attractive now, not because of any size change in the boobs necessarily, but because now I can fit into more clothes, so I'm able to dress in cuter ways. I feel like I take more care of my appearance now that I'm not trying to cover up my body all the time. I'm just happier. being able to look at myself, and I don't have so much like dysphoria about what I look like. So because of that, I'm overall just a more pleasant person, I guess. That and like I just like so many more clothes options are available to me now. Like I could wear like dresses, rompers, like I can wear types of things that fit your whole body in one piece of clothes. Couldn't do that before. Like that wasn't possible.
And that confidence is like attractive too, I feel.
Yeah.
Partner. You know, so you feeling better about yourself, like it bleeds over into like your relationship and other parts of your relationship. Like I feel like really sexy now. Not that I hated myself before, because I didn't, but like now that I can like fill out a bikini top way better, I feel like super sexy now. I know that my husband sees that, and I feel like it's a turn on for him as well. So
yeah, exactly. I think that's a big part of it too. So I think there's a lot of weird, like you were saying, there's a lot of weird misconceptions out there about plastic surgery and the reasons why, specifically women especially. I think there's a lot of judgment when women get plastic surgery. I know there was a thing that went around recently where people were posting a picture of, I guess, Madonna. She got like some face thing done. I don't know if it was like facelift or something, because she's, I don't know, she's in her 60s, and I guess she got this face procedure, and a lot of people were sharing this picture of her and saying that they think it's so sad that women feel the need to do these things to their body, because I guess they think she didn't look very good or whatever. Like, first of all, it doesn't matter if she looks good or not. All that matters is if she is happy with the choice that she made. You don't have to like how someone looks, but also it's not a sad choice that they made a choice that they're happy with just because you don't like it. Like, you're just a stranger they don't even know. I thought that was really frustrating, because I even saw like think pieces from like feminist writers and things like that saying that they think that it is sad that this is the culture we're seeing about women not wanting to age, or like women feeling that they like there's a cultural pressure that you can't age or whatever, that you have to keep your appearance looking a certain way. And I'm like, I guess we can talk about the fact that there is a lot more social pressure put on women to look really good than there is put on men. Like, we can definitely talk about that, but at the same time, I don't think making an example out of someone who got plastic surgery is the way to do that, because at the end of the day, I don't ever see a woman exerting her bodily autonomy and being happy with the result and say that that's sad. I can't see that as a sad situation. That's only a good thing to me. Yeah.
If it made you feel good about yourself, it made you feel better about yourself, then good for you. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't get it. Like, why, you're allowed to do that. And if it makes her happy, then it doesn't really matter how you think she looks. It matters how she thinks she looks. And it matters it matters what she wants. This actually comes up a lot in my, this may sound surprising to some people, but in my plastic surgery group, it's a very uplifting group, and not just about breast augmentation too. There's women in the group who have had breast reductions, and we're all very positive and uplifting with each other. And somebody posted a video of a woman, like, I think it was a reshare, and the woman had, like, she didn't have any, I can't remember. It was a model. It was a beautiful Black woman. And she had, like, her breasts were just like, she didn't have an augmentation. She didn't have any surgery. Her breasts were kind of like saggy. They were just droopy. She kind of had like that long cleavage. And she was like on a red carpet in a dress somewhere at some event. I thought she looked beautiful. And people are talking shit about her in the comment, not in our group, but like in the comment section of the original post. People are like saying, ew, her boobs look gross. You need some boob tape. You need to lift those up. She needs a breast lift. And we're just like, here in my group, in the boob job group, the plastic surgery group, everybody in here is just like, I think she looks great. And somebody made the point, and it's like, women get criticized for having plastic surgery, and then she chooses not to, and she likes her body the way it is. She doesn't mind her breasts being a little bit saggy, and now she's criticized for that.
Exactly. It's like, you cannot win.
You can't win. So you know what? F it, I'm doing what I want anyway. I feel like it's that sort of thing. People talk crap about women online for like, they age, they get a little bit saggy, because that happens because you're a human. And then, a lot of women have kids. That happens. And then people talk about how they look, and then maybe they get plastic surgery, some sort of cosmetic procedure, and then it's all about, why didn't you just appreciate your natural beauty, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay.
Exactly. Well, before I got breast reduction, I would sometimes get comments on videos where people are like, you say that you're all about representing business ownership, but you're wearing a tight tank top and I can see way too much cleavage. You do not look professional at all. Like, I don't know why I would take anything you say seriously, because you're just showing your boobs on the camera. And I'm like, okay, well, that's how big they are, dude. Like, I cannot control that. And, like, I'm still going to wear clothes. Like, I have to wear some type of clothes. I could put on clothes that cover them up entirely, but that I just don't think it looks good on me. I want to look good in a video, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I get a lot of those type of things. And what I've noticed which is funny is, since I've gotten breast reduction, I get a lot less hate comments about my appearance.
Really?
Like, and it's weird because they're not even, like, necessarily related to that. Like, I used to have this weird trend on my channel where when I would criticize a figure like, I don't know, Ben Shapiro or Grant Cardone or someone like that, I'd get a lot of specifically, like, right-leaning men in my comments to tell me that they think I have gross teeth. I don't know why. My teeth are completely normal. Like, there's nothing weird about them. So, but I would get so many, and I was so confused, but I would get so many comments about them hating my teeth. Since I've gotten surgery, I've had so many videos about those same topics, and I've had no comments about my appearance at all. And I'm like, this is so weird. Like, were they wanting to, like, criticize my chest being big, but they knew that would get flagged, so they said something unrelated? Was that, like, I don't know what was going on. Like, I still don't understand, but that's what I've noticed.
That's so weird.
Yeah. It happened for, like, 3 years. Every couple weeks I'd get some comment on a video like that being like, ew, you need to take better care of your teeth. And I'd be like, what's wrong with them?
I think your teeth look fine.
Thank you. I don't see the issue at all.
Your situation is interesting because you were already on YouTube when you had your cosmetic surgery done. I had mine done like 6 years ago, 7 years ago. Way before I was on YouTube, way before I even thought about getting on YouTube. So I already had my boobs done when I started YouTube. And I get a lot of comments if I'll make an off-the-cuff remark about my boob job in a video. And I got a comment that was like, you have a boob job? I didn't even notice. I get those like comments a lot. And I mean, I think it's because my surgeon did a good job at like, my boobs are big. I don't like put them, you know, I'm not always wearing like, what's that bra that Victoria's Secret had a few years ago that was super popular? The bombshell? Was it the bombshell bra?
I don't remember, because here's the thing. I stopped being able to fit into any bra from Victoria's Secret when I was like 15, so...
and you probably weren't even thinking about making your boobs look bigger, too.
No, never! When I was in college, my friends would always go to the mall, and they'd always want to shop for bras at Victoria's Secret, and then I'd be like, I can't fit into anything here. And then the lady would be like, I bet you can fit into something here, and then she'd measure me and like try to get me to fit into certain bras, and they would always be a little off, and sometimes I'd buy one, because I'd be like, maybe this will work, and then it would get uncomfortable in like 5 minutes, and I'd be like, okay, never mind.
No.
But at Victoria's Secret, they were always trying to make a sale no matter what, so they would be like, yeah, you can fit. They did the whole like sister sizes thing. They'd be like, oh, well, you're this size. I was like, at the time, I was really skinny in college, but I was like a 32F or something at the time. Oh, wow. And they were like, oh, you can fit into like the 36 double D. That's basically the same thing. No, it's not.
No.
Like, maybe it's the same, like, in terms of certain dimensions of it, but, like, it's not the exact same fit. It's not the same ratio of band to cup size, and so it doesn't really fit the same way. A 36 double D is what I wear now after breast reduction surgery, so I definitely shouldn't have been trying to fit into it before. That was just a whole mess. Anyway, I have a lot of issues with Victoria's Secret as a result.
I forgot what I was saying.
But, yeah, no, you were talking about the bombshell, like the...
Oh, yeah, I was just... Because people will frequently are surprised when I bring it up. They're like, "Oh wow, I didn't even know you had your boobs done."
Yeah,
and that's because I want it that way.
Yep.
And I don't have a problem with somebody wanting to like show their boobs on camera. I'm a very sex positive person. I think if you want to like show your cleavage, then like, girl, go off. Good for you. But I just don't always, I just don't do that in most of my videos most of the time. But I feel like that's kind of homage to my husband, my surgeon, doing a really good job at giving me the size I want, but also I can kind of cover them up when I want and like not like kind of play them down, I guess, too. Because honestly, my boobs are big.
Yeah.
I'm 34 double D, but I'm sometimes a triple D depending on the store.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what I wanted. Like, I wanted my boobs to be big. And when I want them to be like big and in your face, and they're going to be big and in your face.
As they should be, dude.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you should, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
It was nice to kind of get to choose what I wanted, because I knew that I wanted to take off a lot of like a lot. I knew I wanted to take off a lot because there was way too much there. But I didn't want to take everything off. I didn't want to be completely flat chested. What I told the surgeon was like, take off a significant amount, but try to not take off so much that the feeling will never come back. Because that's the thing. It's like if they take off too much, like then there's a higher chance that both you will lose all feeling forever and that you will never be able to breastfeed, which I don't have any intention of breastfeeding, but it's kind of like the same. I was like, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I still can't feel anything. I might get my nipples pierced at some point because I don't feel anything. It's not going to hurt. Like,
here's a question that I want to ask you. It's easy to kind of envision when you're getting an augmentation, when you're going bigger, you go in and have like you do a thing where you try on sizers and like you can kind of visualize how they'll look bigger. How did you do that for a reduction?
Well, I couldn't, like, there wasn't anything I could do on my actual body because they were just, you couldn't, so what I mostly did was, the nurse had me go on these, before and after pages from other work the surgeon had done and find, a couple different after pictures that looked like what I wanted it to look like. Dude, it was so funny too, because one of the women I found in an after picture, I was like, I really like this one. And then I was like, but her boobs are way bigger still than what I'm going for. And then I realized I just was attracted to this woman. Like, I just thought she was really hot. And I was like, oh, well, that doesn't matter because that's not what I'm going for here.
You're looking at the wrong thing.
I'm looking at the wrong thing. Her boobs look great. But that's not what this is about. Yeah, so I just, like, sent them a bunch of images that were like roughly the size and proportion that I was going for, because like it's like, okay, this woman is like 4'11", so she's gonna be a lot smaller just in general, so I'm not like trying to actually look like her, but like roughly proportional to the rest of her body is like, yeah, that kind of thing. So I sent them a bunch of pictures, they took that into account, and then I said like, these pictures are kind of what I'm going for, but if you need to not take off as much because I do want to have feeling come back eventually, then you can leave a little bit extra, and then I just kind of trusted him with it. And it worked out great. I'm extremely happy with just like everything about my chest right now. I'm very happy.
Good. I like your boobs too.
Thank you. I like yours too. I think they turned out great.
That's really similar to an augmentation too. It's more of a where you my surgeon asked me, and this is kind of common too, they'll ask you what's the ending cup size that you're looking for, and they'll ask for photos too, like, and they call them wish pics, like photos of like what you kind of are envisioning, what you want your end result to look like. So a lot of people sometimes will ask me, oh, how many cc's did you get? And I really don't like to answer that question because like you just described, everybody's proportions are different. Yeah. So I have 485 cc's in both of mine. Yeah. Which on some people that might look massive, but on other people that might not look like anything. So, and a good surgeon is going to, they take what's called your breast width diameter. They take measurements like of your whole boob, the like nipple to the edge, nipple to the top, nipple to the bottom. And then they like take into account like your, how broad your shoulders are, because different proportions will look different. Like you could get 485 cc breast implants and you will look completely different than me. So like when people ask me, like I could tell you my cc's, but that's not, I don't want somebody to go to a surgeon and be like, I want 485 cc's. Because if you get 485 cc implants, they're not going to look the same unless they have the exact same proportions, which we probably don't.
That's unlikely.
Yeah, it's very unlikely. So that's why it's a better strategy to bring pictures of the look that you want instead of like, don't go to your surgeon and demand a certain cc size. You know, they're the professional. They'll know what to give you based on the ending product that you want.
Well, even like when I sent in all the pictures and like when I was talking to them in the consultations ahead of time, they said, you know, it's likely you're going to be about a C cup size based on all of this. And then I wear a double D cup size, so it ended up being a little bit bigger. But that's also because bra sizes vary a lot based on specific proportions, based on just the ratio of your rib cage circumference to the widest part of your chest. And when I did a video about this afterward, I ended up debunking a lot of myths myths about bra sizing, because I think this is a big fault of especially like the fast fashion industry. They really want people to fit into as many of the most common sizes possible so that they can mass produce them and sell them to as many people. As a result, a lot of people wear the wrong bra size and feel very uncomfortable in their bra because they're trying to buy bras that are mass produced and that are available at Walmart or Target or whatever, that they can get really cheap and really quick. But a lot of times the size you might need isn't one that's available. Instead, you might need to go for like a lower band size that's tighter around your ribs so that you can have a better support, or you might need a bigger cup so that you're not trying to spill out at the top of it. You might need something different. And it's just not as common to find it. So doing measurements and figuring that out is a really important part of the process that I think a lot of people, they just try on bras and try to find a cheap one that sort of fits, and that becomes really, it can be really uncomfortable. So there's a lot of misconceptions about how to find a good fitting bra.
What's funny is before I had my boobs done, I wore bras a lot of the time. Stormy's being weird.
What is she doing? Hi! Oh my god, she's so cute. Chewie's just napping back there. The boy's just napping on his little bed.
So before I had my boobs done, I wore a bra constantly. You never would have caught me outside of the house without a bra on. And for me, it was more about, I didn't want to look flat-chested. Wearing a bra helped me look like I had something. What's funny is now that after I got my boobs done, I almost never wear a bra now.
Wait, it's actually legit the same for me. Before I had the reduction, I wore a bra 100% of the time, and it was because I was uncomfortable not wearing a bra. Like, I even wore a bra to sleep for most of the time. I wished I could have worn it in the shower, just because when I take it, first of all, I hated it too, because it was like digging into me constantly. I'd have like the weight of it was like in my shoulders like this and like pushing down, but I would also, if I took it off, the weight of my boobs going forward without anything to hold them up was just like awful on my upper back, and like, and then it would also be like, if I would sweat at all, there would be like an insane amount of sweat, because they were so big, they'd fall like down here and they'd like land here, and then I'd have sweat between my ribs and my boobs, and it was awful. There was no way to be comfortable. It was just bad. I would sometimes alternate like taking the bra off and putting it back on, because just like the momentary difference was nice. But I mostly wore a bra 100% of the time. And then now I guess I'm wearing a bra right now, but that's because I'm worried that this shirt's a little see-through. But other than if I'm worried the shirt is see-through, I wear bras to the gym, which is nice because I can get like normal size sports bras now, and I don't have to get the ones with all the adjustable straps. I can just get like a regular like elastic sports bra, which feels wonderful. So I wear a sports bra to the gym, and other than that, I pretty much never wear a bra anymore at all. And it's nice because I don't know, it's like I don't have anything just digging into my back all day. It's really nice to not feel the physical need to now.
You physically needed to wear a bra, like for your...
Right, I would see people, like when COVID lockdown started, there would be people doing all these things, being like, ladies, I thought we were having solidarity and all not wearing bras while we were at home together. And I was like, oh, okay, you want me to suffer? Like, for some of us, we have to, okay? I would also get so annoyed with, like, because this was like right around the time AI pictures were becoming a thing, a lot of people would use AI art to generate, like, pictures of really huge boob women. And people would be like, this is giving people unrealistic expectations, these women are not believable. And I'd be like, okay, it's fair to critique overuse of AI images for some things, but like, my boobs actually were that big, so I don't like being told that I'm just an unrealistic male fantasy. Like, I'm just a human, like...
I'm just a person.
Yeah.
You brought up something when we were chatting, and you said, how about we talk about, like, common things that we've kind of encountered when we're getting pushback. And for me, I feel like it's like, no duh, people gave me pushback, what plastic surgery, because plastic surgery has a negative stigma, blah, blah, blah. Ultimately, everybody in my life was supportive. I was going to do it. I don't really care what you say, but it is harder for me to imagine that people would give pushback to someone who wants a reduction. So did you get like comments like, why don't you just love your body how it is, blah, blah, blah?
A few things. Like, for the most part, I will say the overwhelming majority of people in my life were extremely supportive. Most things I got, like what I said earlier, I'd get some comments and messages on Instagram of people being like, is your husband gonna be okay with that? Like, and then some people would, again, like, share sad stories of times that they got a reduction and their significant other didn't love them anymore or whatever. Like, that's awful. Yeah. But I was like, no, I have a good partner, so I think I'm okay. I had one person be like, why don't you just try losing weight instead? And I was like, well, if you must know, I actually did that when I was a teenager. I was extremely underweight and my chest was still huge because it's proportional. So, like, it was less huge than it is now, but compared to the rest of my body, it was still huge. So, yeah. No, there's no amount of weight loss that's going to make my boobs a proportionally reasonable size. But right. I have had people that would ask me that, and I was like, I guess right before I got the reduction, I was technically a little bit overweight because this was right after I had started. This was like a couple months after I'd really gotten into weightlifting, so I had just started. I'd started like bulking and gaining a lot of muscle and stuff, but I had never been like legitimately like not according to like BMI scales, because we know that's like bullshit measurements, but I had never been like legitimately overweight in terms of like just being something people would classify as fat. Like, I've just never been that in my life. So I would think it's weird that people would be like, can't you just like lose a healthy amount of weight? And I'd be like, how much do you think that would be? Because I've been 110 pounds before at 5'6", and I've had to be like taken to doctors for that, and my boobs were still big. They were about the size they are now, actually, but on like a really skinny girl frame at the time. So I'm like, I have been extremely thin before, and the boobs don't go away. So there's people who would have like weird misconceptions like that. I would be like, I don't know where you're getting that from, but no, I can't do that. Those were kind of some of the weirder things that I got. I didn't get as much like stuff about, oh, you need to just embrace natural beauty, because I think a lot of people understood that I was having a lot of pain for it. Yeah. But one thing I will always defend is, like, when I get into arguments with people on Twitter and I bring up, like, I've had plastic surgery, a lot of people will go like, oh, but yours is different because you had physical pain. And I will be like, it's not different, though, because even if I didn't have physical pain, I still would have gotten it done, because I still I just didn't feel right in my body before then. And I wanted to feel right, because having, either having like dysphoria or having body dysmorphia, like, those are legitimate things that people have. And it's really difficult to go through life feeling like you just don't belong in the body that you have. It's a really bad feeling to have. So I still would have gotten it anyway, because having any type of mental health concern is just as legitimate. So I will always push back on other people who try to tell me that, like, the surgery I got is different or more legitimate than someone else's plastic surgery that was just for appearance. I was like, even if I didn't have scoliosis, even if there wasn't all of the medical concerns, I would have gotten it anyway, just for appearance, even without those factors there. So no, it's not any different. Everyone deserves like full bodily autonomy. I think that's like the main thing that I have to defend sometimes, me being like, no, it is no different. Everyone has the right to do what they want with their own body.
Yeah, I love that you said that. I'm sure you get that a lot too. It seems like people tend to, whenever it's a reduction for things like just pain and discomfort like you experience, people tend to give you, those people, a lot less crap, versus me, who I just wanted bigger breasts because I just wanted bigger breasts. Oh, you're just being vain. Yeah. You should just accept your body for how it is. I feel like when it comes to plastic surgery, it's cosmetic. Does anyone really need plastic surgery? Like, was I going to die if I didn't get a breast augmentation? No. Were you going to die if you didn't get a breast reduction? Probably not. But it is a quality of life thing. I saw a plastic surgeon talking about this one time, and it just made so much sense. It's a quality of life thing. No one needs a nose job. But if that nose job, if somebody maybe that person was born with a physical deformity and they have felt like bad about themselves their whole lives, maybe they felt uncomfortable with it their whole lives, and now they have they got the nose job, and now they finally have the nose that they always wanted, and they feel amazing about themselves. They're much happier. It's a quality of life thing. So whenever I hear people say, well, why don't you just embrace what you already have? Well, that's not always realistic for people. And I just don't think that's appropriate too, because what about somebody who's transgender, a transgender woman who, like, you've dealt with gender dysphoria your whole life, and you're finally at a point where you're like, you know what, I want a breast augmentation because that will just make me feel good about myself, make me feel better. Do you need breasts to be considered a woman? No, you don't. You don't need breasts. But if having a breast augmentation will make that transgender woman feel better, Why can't they have that? I think that's a great
how I
thing.
see it. Like, let.
A lot of people who are just anti-cosmetic surgery, cosmetic procedures don't think about that. They don't think about it's the quality of life. It's about like you move through life a lot better when you feel good about yourself and when you feel good about your body. When you're more confident, you move through life differently.
Well, I think that it's kind of similar to like people get braces on their teeth. The majority of people who have braces, there isn't a life or death physical need for them. Like for some people, yeah, you need to correct something because you're not going to be able to eat foods properly or something. But like for people who just have like slight shifts in their teeth or like they're a little bit off center or whatever, they'll usually still get braces, and that's not something that is like necessary for them to live. But a lot of parents, if they can afford braces, will still just go ahead and get them for their kids by default, because that's considered as normalized to want to fix that, even though that's also in a way a cosmetic procedure if it's not something that's physically necessary. But we're cool with that. But then I guess when it's specifically, I think when it comes to things that just women do, that tends to be where more of the criticism comes in, because people really like trying to police women's bodies. That's just, I think people really enjoy, and I hate seeing when other women do it. That's the part that makes me sad, because I'm like, I support anything you want to do with your body. Like, can't you support that for everyone else? I don't know.
Never thought of the braces thing before. But yeah, that's absolutely true. And when usually a lot of times when people get braces, like we're kids and nobody bats
like, and it's not even like as a kid you don't consent to it or anything. Most kids don't want braces because that makes it hard to eat certain things. It makes it they're kind of painful, and like most kids are like, no, I don't want this, and then they get them anyway because their parents say you need them.
Nobody calls it a vanity whenever I had braces when I was a kid. I actually didn't mind getting braces.
I didn't either. I liked them because I thought I liked how I could get the different colors. I thought that making them like rainbow colors was fun and stuff. I was sold on all of that. Yeah.
I feel like so many kids, especially millennials, I feel like so many of us had braces when we were kids, and nobody batted an eye. You know, nobody told us that we were being vain. Nobody told us, well, why don't you just accept the teeth that you have? I mean, it was like, it's normal. Like you said, that's a good point. I never thought about that.
See, I didn't really think about it much until when I was an adult, or I guess when I was in college. I made some friends who were from like very rural communities, and a lot of people in rural, like not all people, but there's plenty of people in like very rural communities who don't get braces. Like it's not as common. And it could just be that it's like, you know, a lot of times they can't afford them or something. So I've had a few friends that hadn't had braces, and they're cool with it. They're like, their teeth work just as, like, they're a little bit off, like not completely straight, but it's like they can still use them the same, you know? Like it's not really a physical necessity. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I think when it comes to plastic surgery, find a reputable doctor. Go to a doctor that is going to do it safely. Do as much research as you can. See what you can get covered by insurance, all of those things. But it's also like, I don't think anyone should ever feel bad for wanting to make that choice for themselves. I think it's weird when other people try to act like someone's body isn't as legitimate because it's not all natural or whatever. Like, now that I'm like away from the natural beauty world, like, I don't know, maybe when I get older I'll get Botox or something. I don't know. I don't have any plans to, but I'm open to anything at this point. Like, I think a lot of people expect women to represent, like, always be representing what's best for women's rights as a whole and things like that. Or, like, people expect women to be out there like, I'm not giving in to these patriarchal beauty standards or whatever. It is like, at the end of the day, I think the most freeing thing we can do for women is to just, accept everyone's individual choices of what they want to do with their body, regardless of what it is. The freedom to look however they want.
I agree. There's a girl in my boob job group who has she has 1100 cc implants.
Oh wow.
And they're big, and you know what, she's happy, and I think she looks great.
Good for her, dude.
That's what I said. Good for you. You love how you look. Good for you. And I think that's what it should come down to. You know, it is bodily autonomy. I am an advocate for that, like you. I agree. And if you're researching for plastic surgery, the biggest piece of advice I give to anyone looking for plastic surgery is to research, and also make sure that research is legitimate, evidence-based, science-based, and unbiased as well. That's a good closing point.
I think that's a good closing point. We can move to the second topic.